It's time for day 2 of Y. The easiest thing to start off with on your letter are the endpoints. Those are any areas where it goes off into nothing and there's no connection to anything else in your letter. So let's go in and finish these ones off. You want to create a triangle. So that means that you're not just going to go straight across. Obviously, that's not a triangle. But instead, you're going to bring your end point in at an angle. You want to try to maintain that angle for every single ending of your entire letter. So here, if we were to connect the endpoints, it would have a different angle. So instead, we want to either extend these a little bit and then connect it in, or even just bring it in a little bit lower on that middle line. Whichever letter you're doing, go through and first start off with these outer points that have no connection. And then next we move into how do you make it connect here? There are two options, and the first would be just that it's a regular overlap. For instance, if you're doing a P, you might decide that your areas of overlap are actually just going to be areas where your letter stops. So for instance, after this hook here, rather than trying to connect it into your letter, you might decide that it will just end like it's being tucked underneath this fold. But you might also decide that up on the top here, you want that to be a continuous fold around with a bit of layering ending up happening throughout your letter. For our Y, we have two options, and one is to simply cut the letter off here so that this side of the Y is overlapping. You can always try it out to see if you like the result. Otherwise, go back in, erase that out, and try connecting the other way. Now, to me, this starts to make it look a little bit like an X. So our final option, and the one that I would probably suggest if you don't do the initial overlap, would be to imagine that your pieces are actually connecting in here, which means if you're doing it with paper, you'd have to cut an angle so that it can properly join up. This is what we're going to be creating for our letter today. So in order to do that, your middle letter connects all the way down to that folded line. So back to your Sesame Street letter. And then from these connection points at the corners, you're going to connect them to that center meetup point of your Sesame Street letter. So this piece would go into here, and this one would go into here. Now, you might not fully realize yet how it's going to work in a three-dimensional way, but when we add color next day, you will see exactly how it works.